Create with Fran Sidney. Hello everyone, welcome to Create with France. This is Fran Sidney speaking to you, and we are having today episode 42. As you can see from the title, we're going to talk about the secondary gain. You might think, what the heck is that? Well, it's just a coaching term. It really means what we are gaining from something that looks like very negative from the outside, and I'll give you a few examples. A long while ago, I was working with a woman who had a very good diet. She was exercising, she was very active, she didn't really eat much, and her food was plant-based and all sorts, so you would see the perfect diet. Despite that, this woman who was in perfect health just couldn't lose any weight, and the blood work said that she was okay. The doctor said you don't have thyroid problems. And so she was absolutely confused why I cannot lose this weight. Or maybe we should say reduce. Because if you start saying lose, maybe your mind thinks, oh my gosh, I lost it. I have to gain it back. So always mind your work and your words, of course. So going back to this lovely woman, we had an interesting session, and when she was in regression during an RTT, she found herself talking to a person that was in her life at the moment of a session, and this person was using very harsh words towards my client all the time. They made her feel really small, really non-powerful, like you're invisible, you're not important. This person was bigger, stronger, probably even fatter, I can't remember, but a person maybe with more muscles than her, and she just felt diminished. And then she kind of clicked during the session. She said, that's why I have a weight. This weight is not a problem, it's actually a blessing. It's a shield of protection. And she realized that this problem was created by her mind, so that she would feel that she could face the fury of the other person, or the anger. Now I can't remember the details of everything, that was a long while ago, but it makes sense. So since then, she was able to detach herself from this idea that she had to be protective. And I wonder how many other people are there that have this issue. And I remember reading in an article a long while ago about a girl. And this girl had the same issue. She had been physically abused when she was young, and so she started to eat. And in the interview, she said very clearly, I keep eating, so I will become unattractive, and therefore nobody will sexually abuse me anymore, which was very sad, but that was like a very visible thing. However, sometimes this is happening at subconscious level. So if you find that your weight isn't where you want it to be, despite all your efforts, and you tried every possible trick and work with a nutritionist and everything, it could be that in your occasion the weight is there for a reason, and it's always a good idea to find out why. So let me know if you want to have a chat with me for that reason. Of course, the weight isn't just there for protection. Sometimes it's there to make us feel good about ourselves. And another client that I had the typical situation where when you grow up, you are rewarded with sweets and cakes when you've been a good boy or a good girl. And this happens to a lot of people in the Western society. We are rewarded with something sweet. And maybe during the war, this was a good thing because sugar was extremely rare. You could not really find it, only in the black market. And the government would give you rations, and the rations were absolutely tiny. So it was a real reward. But nowadays, sugarcane production and everything have made the price of sugar collapse, and therefore it is easily available. So it's not really a treat to have sugar. It's just there all the time. You can have it whenever you want. Despite this, for a lot of people, sugar remains a way of celebrating and being happy. And in the case of my particular client, sugar was just remembering those wonderful times that happened in the past when with all the family they were all these big celebrations, and everybody was happy and eating a lot of sugary food. And therefore, in the present time, when the client was feeling low or tired or frustrated or bored, they just wanted to pick up a little bit the moods, then the food was the only way of remembering those warm, happy times that we had before. So always be asking yourself, I'm doing something that I know is not right. I'm eating too much of this, too much of that. Why is this happening? What is my mind trying to tell me? Just listen to your guts. And sometimes you will just get the perfect response to tell you, yes, you want to do this because it's going to make you feel great. And the mind always wants us to feel amazing. I also remember the case of a person, very happy woman. She was in a successful relationship with her husband, but they were not intimate at all. She just couldn't do anything, and there was no physical problem. The problem was that she was always tired. She, in fact, was suffering from chronic fatigue, and no doctor could work out why, when she got married, she developed this chronic fatigue. She was so tired, she could just drag her feet out of bed in the morning, do a few things, but by the end of the afternoon, she was absolutely in pieces, and the husband would just put her in bed, and she was just dead until the next day. And then this woman had a session, and she realized that her chronic fatigue was her way of avoiding being intimate with her husband, because this was going to trigger something that had happened in the past that had made her feel really awkward about being intimate with somebody. And in her case, there was a complete resolution of the problem. So as you can see, our mind is really a brilliant thing. It can come out with all sorts of protective mechanisms that are helping us to avoid a problem by creating a different problem, which, according to our subconscious mind, is going to be a lot easier to cope with. And to finish, I wanted to close with a third case. This case was a different one when the game was very, very difficult to understand for us, but it made sense for his little boy. He had the problem of being very, very jealous of his little brother, or younger or older, I can't remember. But anyways, there was his jealousy, and the little boy was not allowed to talk. His parents just would not allow him to really fight or do anything like that. He was not allowed to express his anger in any way. He just had to be composed and calm and everything. And he had a lot of stuff that he wanted to say that was not right. I will not tell you the details because it was a bit of a story. And he developed a really, really bad case of psoriasis. Was there for like 25 years, and no doctor could do anything about it until he had a session, and during hypnosis the issue came out that he had these serious issues with his brother when he was young. The issue was really never solved, so his mind was just repeating to him, come on then, here I am, I'm telling you, there is something there, you have to remember this. So the mind was reminding him, and this anger was expressed through the skin. And of course, after the session, within 2 or 3 weeks, the psoriasis peeled off completely and the skin returned to normal, because finally the condition was able to be cleared because there was no reason anymore for being there in the first place. So as you can see, our subconscious mind can create all sorts of issues just for the sake of protecting us from pain, from something unfamiliar, from change, etc. So just watch your step, watch your words. What are you saying to yourself? What are you listening to? Maybe you are influencing yourself as well. But remember that the subconscious mind is not going to give you any hints. It's just going to produce these effects that you do not understand. And then you realize that, hey, maybe I have this problem for a very specific reason. And many, many times, the problems that we have originate from an emotional issue that has not been solved and is crying, is asking, solve me so I can go away. And this part of us that's created this issue is very, very tired of doing this work. So we need to let it go. And with a proper therapy session, you can do this. Usually one single session is enough, and then with 3 follow-ups, and then the whole process lasts less than a month, basically. And you are then able to reflect upon your past and see how something that happened in the past shaped your present, but you will not allow that to shape your future, because now you know why. And you know what? Understanding is power. Once you know why you have a particular block, emotional block or physical block, you can remove it, because you can see consciously that you do not need it. And how beautiful it is to live without that block and being able to really fulfill your purpose and enjoy your life more. And so this is it for today. I thought that I would do a little bit of a shorter episode, and I hope that you have enjoyed it. And maybe if you have found it useful, you can click to like or to share, and you can write a review of this podcast. We're now on episode 42, and it's been such a pleasure to work with you guys and to have your requests and to have so many intriguing guests full of amazing news and inspirational stories. And I hope to have some more. So if you have a story to share that has to do with art or with mindfulness, with recovery from something, from addiction or anxiety or whatever the problem is that has to do with the mind, please let me know, contact me, and we can arrange a pre-podcast chat and then do the recording and talk about your stories and talk about your story to the whole world. So thank you so much for being with me, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. You've listened to Create Your Life with Fran Sidney.